Hey everyone, I wanted to record a video here walking you through kind of a flow chart of how to tell whether a Sheva is vocal or silent. You'll see here that there's one big shortcut. It's to ask one single question. Is there a short vowel right before the Sheva? If there's a short vowel right before the Sheva, it will be silent. If there is not a short vowel right before the Sheva, it will be vocal. This is going to cover about 95 to 98.372% of situations where you have to determine whether the Sheva is vocal or silent. If there's a short vowel right before the Sheva, it is silent. If there's not, it is vocal. Now, this is not the first rule that you learn, because this rule is sort of it's built upon a lot of other rules. But this one will summarize for you the most important information so that you don't have to remember so many rules. You can remember one rule to cover about 95% of situations, or you can learn 3 or 4 rules that will cover 99% of situations, 99.32876%. So I suggest that you focus on the shortcut rule to get the most bang for your buck, and then you can fill out your understanding of the Sheva with the other rules. If you want to start from the beginning, the first question you can ask is the Sheva inside the first letter of a word? If it is, it's vocal. The Sheva inside, or I say inside, a Sheva under the first letter of a word is going to be vocal, okay? If it's not under the first letter of a word, then you would ask, is the Sheva in the last letter of a word? If the Sheva is in the last letter of a word, then it will be silent, okay? But what if it's neither? What if the Sheva is not in the first letter of a word and it's not in the last letter of a word? Well, is the Sheva the first of 2 consecutive Shevas within a word? If so, then the first Sheva will be silent. The second Sheva will be vocal. All right? Or if this doesn't apply at all, it will be vocal. So you can see there's kind of a lot of decisions to make here. But ultimately what it comes down to is this rule will actually cover all these other questions. Is there a short vowel right before the Sheva? Well, if the Sheva is the first letter, then no. If the Sheva is in the first letter, then no. There's not going to be a short vowel right before the Sheva. There will be nothing before the Sheva. It's because this will be the first letter. All right, so let's apply this shortcut rule of the Sheva to a few examples and kind of see how it works out here. Make sure I've got this as large as I can. We'll look at the first one here, midbar. The question is, we've got a Sheva. Is the vowel preceding the Sheva short? Is it preceded by a short vowel? This one is preceded by a hirik. Hirik is short, and so this would be silent. Midbar, not midbar, midbar. Number 2, we've got a Sheva here. The question, is the Sheva immediately preceded by a short vowel? It's preceded by a patak. Patak is short, therefore the Sheva is silent. Number 3, Sheva right here under the gimel, is it preceded by a short vowel? It's preceded by a segel. Segel is short. Short is silent. So this is neg-do. Neg-do. Number 4, we've got a Sheva here preceded by a kibbutz. Is kibbutz short? Yes. So the Sheva here is silent. Muk-tal. Muk-tal. Number 6, we've got a Sheva. Oh, sorry, I missed number 5. Number 5, we've got a Sheva preceded by a hirik. Is hirik short? We already decided up here in number 1 that hirik was short. Therefore, Sheva is silent. Mincha. Looking at number 6, we've got a Sheva. Is it preceded by a short vowel? Well, it's preceded by Holam Vav. Is Holam Vav short? No. Holam Vav is long, and so this is going to be a vocal Sheva. Ko Tivim. Ko Tivim. Number 7, we've got a Sheva here. Is it preceded by a short vowel? It's preceded by Sere. Is Sere short? Sere is not short. Futato calls Sere medium. So short is silent, does not apply, therefore it's vocal. Be recha. Be recha. Number 8. We've got a Sheva right here. Is the Sheva preceded by a short vowel? It is not. It's not preceded by anything. There's a break in the word, and so it's preceded by nothing. Since it's preceded by nothing, it is vocal. It is not preceded by a short vowel. It is vocal. Devarim. Devarim. Now here you can see that first rule. Is the Sheva in the first letter of the word? Yes. Well, according to our flow chart, that would tell you right away that this is vocal, but we can apply our shortcut rule. Is it preceded by a short vowel? That is immediately. Is it immediately preceded by a short vowel? No. Therefore, it's vocal. Devarim. Number 9, this one gets a little trickier. We've got 2 Shevas. So let's start. It's always good to start from the beginning on the Shevas. So let's start it from the beginning. Is this Sheva immediately preceded by a short vowel? Preceded by Hirik. Hirik is short, therefore this Sheva is silent. Remember, if a Sheva is silent, it is not a vowel at all. It's basically a syllable divider. So we go to this Sheva. Is this Sheva immediately preceded by a short vowel? It is preceded by a short vowel way back here, but it's not immediately preceded. There's a Zayin and a silent Sheva between this Sheva and the Hirik. And so it is not immediately preceded by a short vowel. Therefore, it is vocal. So we have silent and then vocal. Mizbachot. Now, this was a separate rule that Futato mentioned. When you have 2 consecutive Shevas inside of a word, not at the end, but on the inside, the first one is silent, the second one is vocal. If you have trouble remembering the order there, S for silent alphabetically comes before V for vocal. So first one is silent, second one is vocal. But again, you can just apply this short is silent rule. For the first one, is it preceded by a short vowel? Yes. Therefore, it is silent. For the second one, is it immediately preceded by a short vowel? No. Therefore, it is vocal. Number 10. Again, first letter. So we should automatically know that it is vocal, but we can apply the short is silent rule here, and we can say, is this Sheva immediately preceded by a short vowel? Even if there's another word here, that doesn't really count. Even if somehow there's another word with a short vowel ending it that's open somehow, which again, that's not going to happen. Is it immediately preceded by a short vowel? No. Therefore, it's vocal. Derachim. Derachim. Number 11. This is where the rule breaks down. It doesn't really break down, but it looks like it breaks down. This is the big one that students trip over. And it's because you're not thinking about what you're actually seeing here. Remember, when it comes to the Dagesh, and I know this video isn't about Dagesh, so I'll just tell you this is a doubling Dagesh. When it comes to the Dagesh, a doubling Dagesh doubles the letter. So we have 2 tets here. If we were to write this out, this is what it would look like. We'd have Kof, Hirik, Tet, and then we'd have another Tet. The vowel under the letter that is doubled goes under the second letter. And you could say that the first letter of the pair has no vowel at all. Now, what do we do when an internal letter has no vowel? We put a silent Sheva under it. It's just a syllable divider. So here you've got a silent Sheva filling in the hole there, dividing that syllable. I don't want you to think that the doubling Dagesh doubles both the letter and its vowel. That's not what happens. Because what you'll see here is we're not doubling a vocal Sheva and we're not doubling a silent Sheva. This Sheva is actually vocal. How can this be vocal if it's immediately preceded by a short vowel, the Hirik? That's the problem. It's not immediately preceded by the Hirik. I know that it looks like it is, but this dot, think of this as a tiny, tiny tet inside of this tet. Okay? If we spell it out here, what we actually end up with is, I wish I could get rid of this. There we go. Okay. When we actually spell it out here, what we see is that this tet has been doubled. So the Sheva is not immediately preceded by the Hirik. It's actually preceded by the first tet. All right, and so that's what tells us that this is vocal. It is not immediately preceded by a short vowel. I know it looks like it is when you look over here, but remember, if this is a doubling Dagesh, that ruins the, it throws a wrench in the works here, and it would appear to ruin the rule. But the rule does still hold up, because it truly is not preceded immediately by a short vowel. You've got this intervening tet because it's been doubled. So remember, when you see a vowel under a Dagesh forte, that vowel actually belongs to the second of the double letters. Okay? It doesn't belong to the first. And again, don't think that this Dagesh doubles the vowel as well. I know that's what it's going to look like here when we add our marker back in. Whoops, that's German. Oh, that's not working either. There we go. But it's not doubled because this is a vocal Sheva and this is a silent Sheva. All right? So that's very important to understand what's going on there. Another rule you might kind of keep in your back pocket is that if you have a Dagesh forte and a Sheva in the same letter, the Sheva will always be vocal. You cannot have a silent Sheva under a Dagesh forte. Okay, and by Dagesh forte, of course, I mean the strong Dagesh, the doubling Dagesh. If you have a doubling Dagesh and a a doubling Dagesh and a Sheva in the same letter, the Sheva will be vocal. I'd like to say if you have any Dagesh and a Sheva in the same letter, the Sheva will be vocal. And that's usually the case. Okay, so if we look up here, you've got a Dagesh. This is not a doubling Dagesh. This is a weak Dagesh, but it still indicates that the Sheva is vocal. Almost always, if you have a Dagesh and a Sheva in the same letter, it's going to be a vocal Sheva. There's one exception to that we will learn in lesson 6. Okay, so I don't want to give you that rule, but most of the time, honestly, probably 90+% of the time, if you have a Dagesh and a Sheva in the same letter, that Sheva will be vocal. The one exception I'm talking about is not a Dagesh, not a strong Dagesh, but a weak Dagesh. When a weak Dagesh occurs at the end of a word, it will have a silent Sheva. All right, but again, don't get distracted. Remember, your primary rule here that's going to take care of 90 to 95% of your cases is that that short is silent rule. So if the Sheva is immediately preceded by a short vowel, it's silent. Here again, the Dagesh tells us it's not immediately preceded by a short vowel. That doubling Dagesh tells us there's actually another tav there. All right, so let's look at number 12. We've got a Sheva preceded by a short patak, therefore it is mal ko. We've got 13, a Sheva preceded by a short Hirik, so we have sif ro. Number 14, we have a Sheva that is not preceded by anything, let alone a short vowel. So this is vocal. Yedaber. Yedaber. All right, now this Dagesh here is a doubling Dagesh. Yedaber. All right, now You're probably not going to pronounce that B twice in your own pronunciation. You're probably just going to say yedaber, but it's important to realize this is doubled. Yedaber. And then number 15, we've got two shavas. The first one, is it preceded immediately by a short vowel? No, therefore it is vocal. The second one, is it preceded immediately by a short vowel? It looks like it, but remember, this is a doubling dagesh right here. And almost always when you have any dagesh and a shava in the same letter, the shava will be vocal. But always when you have a doubling dagesh, the strong dagesh, and a shava in the same letter, that shava will be vocal. Because again, there's an intervening bait here between the shava and the patach. So it is not immediately preceded by a short vowel. We have two vocal shavas in this word. Yedabru. Yedabru. All right. So hopefully you can see the application there of the short is silent rule. And hopefully, if you really have understood the confusing part about this dagesh forte, the doubling dagesh with the shava, that hopefully will not be a stumbling block for you.